This is my athletic training career project. The career I did was athletic training. What they do is they tend to injuries. Also, well, what Hello, my name is Ashton Brown. Today, I'm presenting my athletic training career project. What athletic trainers do is they tend to injuries. They are part of the National Athletic Trainers Association, health care professional that specializes in the field of sports. They also diagnose injuries, care to athletes, help increase athlete skill, and help prevent injury. Some of the pros of being an athletic trainer would be a lively environment, meaning like it's supposedly from the man I interviewed, he says a very lively interview, meaning when he said bye was it's always a good energy, there's always something happening, stuff like that. And the involvement in sports. And if you want to be an athletic trainer, you just have to love sports. A casual/comfortable dress code. He said his usual dress code is usually either a very pair of comfortable like slacks or jeans, something he can move in, or just always just a nice like sweatsuit, sweatpants and sweatshirt, and always a comfortable dress code. And to some people this may not be a pro, but in his opinion and my opinion also, and everybody else's practically, this was a pro. A median pay at $46,000 or more a year, and that's a little more than average, so it's a pretty good pay. A fun career. You can, with most athletic trainers, they get to travel with all the teams when they go on away games and stuff like that. It's actually an in-demand and should continue to grow for demand job. They said, and during my research and stuff, that right now for athletic trainers, there's actually been kind of like a shortage of them. Like a lot of schools have only had one athletic trainer when there should be 4 or 5 sometimes. And also being able to help athletes in need, like meaning when they are injured or they need to be stretched or when they need just a bag of ice or anything like that. One of the cons would be long hours, meaning some days, you got like during, springtime and the winter time, the football players and sometimes basketball players, they got their 5 a.m. lifts and stuff like that. So sometimes you need to be there until then. And then some sports don't get done until 6 or 7 o'clock. Also, most of the time needing a lot of time of schooling, at minimum needs a bachelor's degree. So at minimum, you're going to at least need 4 years of education, but 68% have higher than a master's degree. So either most have a master's or a doctorate, and that's either an extra 2 years or sometimes an extra 4 to 6, or even 8 at times, as one of the man and also one of the athletic trainers here at Concordia said he wants for him to get his doctorate and stuff. It would probably take him around another 8 years after his bachelor's. Never know what your day is going to be like. The man I interviewed today, he's the Augsburg head athletic trainer. I'll get into who that is in a second. But he said, one day nobody's going to come in, but there's some days where he's had to tend to 20 or 30 athletes in 2-3 hours, sprained ankles, little strains, little pulls and things like that, he said. Some of the qualifications / requirements that you need to take a CPT exam, master's in some types of, in most, it's a master's degree in some type of sports science. Example are athletic training, exercise science, kinesiology, and a sports science, and a GPA of 3.0 or higher. This is Jeff Swenson. He's worked at Augsburg since 2001, and he's also the head athletic trainer at Augsburg University. He was the head wrestling coach there for many years, since I think he said 1979, and then he's been an athletic trainer since 2001 at Augsburg University. Some of the questions that I asked them, these were the required questions. The next slide, I have some questions I just asked on my own that I came up with. Like, how did you get into this career? Do you have any advice? for us, if we want to follow the same career path as you, what is your typical day like? What do you like most about your job and dislike about your job the most? Can you speak on your work life? And in my own questions, I came up with quite a few more. Did you ever regret choosing this occupation? Was it hard to build connections? Would you recommend this occupation? Who would you recommend to this occupation? What was your biggest takeaway or thing you have learned? Do you plan on ever changing your career? What do you enjoy most about your occupation? What makes your occupation stressful? What made you decide athletic training? Is there anything you wish you would have done differently? What's fascinates you most about your occupation? And he answered these questions very well. I'll kind of just go through a couple of them. He said, did he regret choosing this occupation? He said, no. He said, this is one of the best things he's ever done. He said one of the hardest things was building connections and stuff like that. Because like, if you don't know anybody in this work field, sometimes it's hard to get a job. So having connections, it's kind of just an easier way of getting your foot in the door. And like recommending this to people, like if you don't love sports, he said, don't get into it because it can be very stressful and just very time consuming. And if you just don't have a passion for it, don't get into it. He said it's things like, would he ever change his career? He said no. He said probably the most stressful thing about his occupation would be like how like how much stress can be put on him at times. Like, oh, you're the guy, like you're the head athletic trainer, you know, you're supposed to get this guy healthy and stuff like that. So that's probably what he said was probably the most stressful thing about it was just kind of the workload he had and all the priorities and stuff he had for himself. One of the graduate programs was A&T Still University. The name of the program was Masters in Science and Athletic Training. How long the course was either 12 to 24 months, just depending on how long it potentially took you. Tuition was $600 for each credit hour. And there was 4 courses worth 3 credits each. And this one kind of stuck out to me because a lot of other schools I researched, like this one is still kind of a little spendier, but some were even like close to like 1,000 credit hours. So it's kind of a little more, but so yeah. And then Georgia Southern University, and like actually when I was applying to schools, like just to come for like my bachelor's, my 4 year, I actually looked at this school, so this one kind of stuck out to me, just the name of it did. Some of the programs were Master of Science, Kinesiology, Athletic Training concentration. The duration of the program would have been 2 years. Tuition, the institutional fee in the amount of $290 per term for students enrolled in 5 terms. Statesboro campus is 36 credit hours required. Excuse me. And then the College of Scholastics, since I know it's decently close to me, so I wanted to see like was there any schools like actually within the area that had an affordable program and a decent program. This was one of the schools. The name of their program was Masters of Science in Athletic Training. The duration of it would have been 2 years. Tuition, $3,445. It's located in Duluth, Minnesota, right up north. And it's 60. The course was worth 60 credits. And then just another school I found I wanted to kind of research, like if somebody wanted to not stay in Minnesota or, you know, just kind of travel around for school. This last graduate program was Bridgewater State University. It was the name of the course would just been like an athletic training master's and stuff like that. It was 3 years, and then I know like that's most programs are 2 to 4, so I kind of try to find something maybe even a little less than that because it seems like most people have to at least do their 4 years for them to get theirs. He said there's a few people, Jeff said there's a few people that, you know, can do it in 2 years, but most people it takes 4 years, and I seen this one was 3 years, so I was like, oh, so that you can get it done in less than 4 years. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Tuition, it's a little cheaper, but it's also kind of on the medium side. $16,257 anywhere, and then also anywhere from $33,101 for tuition. Located in Massachusetts. Course was worth 57 credits. Some of the job listings I went through. The first one would have been the Clinical athletic trainer, Ware in Woodbury, Trio Woodbury. I've been there a few times myself. I am an athlete. I run here at Concordia St. Paul, and even in high school, I was there a few times from pulled hamstrings, hurt knees and stuff, bruised meniscus and things just like that. Some of the requirements that they needed for that job was at least a bachelor's degree, certified by the National Athletic Trainers and Association Board of Certification. Some of the duties would be tend to injury rehabilitation and maintain equipment, which is, for the most part, is pretty much everyone. Like every single athletic trainer, they have to do those duties, if not more. And then the second one, Summit Orthopedic High School Athletic Trainer. You would be an athletic trainer at Lakeville North and Lakeville South. You would just fluctuate between the two depending on, whatever their work schedule would have to be. Some of the requirements were bachelor's degree or better in athletic training or a related field, meaning like exercise science, kinesiology, things like that. Licensed athletic trainer, certified athletic trainer, basic life support, meaning like you need to be able to do CPR and things like that. Some of the duties would be tend to injury, recognize and respond to emergency situations, complete forms and documentation needed by patients, employers, or insurance companies. The second one, I thought I only chose this one, the Old True Health System. I think that's how you say it. Because I'm actually from North Dakota, not Grand Forks, but I'm from Fargo, North Dakota, so I thought that one was kind of cool. And some of the requirements would be Board of Athletic Training in North Dakota, athletic training, and also you need a license in Minnesota, a bachelor's degree in athletic training. And then some of the duties would be the athletic trainers coordinates the administration of athletic training, services at assigned school venues or events. This position works cooperatively and is actively engaged in the teaching of fellows, residents, athletic trainers, and other students. And then the last job was right up north again, in Bemidji, athletic trainer. We're at the Bemidji Medical Center. Requirements would be must be certified as an athletic trainer by the Board of Certification and licensed and or registered in states of practice. So meaning if like you have to travel around or things like that. Possesses multi-state licensure, privileges as required by position, bachelor's degree or greater, meaning master's or a doctorate or a PhD of some kind. Duties, evaluate, plan, instructs, and monitors athletic training programs, help athletes prevent damage, restore function, and reach maximum level of independence. Evaluating athletes, sports-related injuries, physical conditions, and needs, recommending a scientific care plan to include scheduled treatment programs and related educations based on their capabilities and limitations. Just some of the job similarities that I found throughout all the jobs would be, some of the similarities would be the requirements, definitely the requirements. Other requirements were kind of similar, like, meaning by like your education, like the duties that you had to do also. And mainly most of them, you at least need a bachelor's degree in some kind of like physical, like in exercise science, athletic training and things like that. And then also, for the duties, as I was saying, most of the duties were the same. Most of the duties were just same, just depending on like your location, the procedures that they would pull. Like some like the high school ones, they were a little different than like a Bemidji Medical Center. Those, like some of the duties would just be a little different, but they were all pretty similar, around the same thing. And growing in an industry will only work if you are there for a very long time. And meaning by that is, unless you stay and stick around at like your same location, say I got a job at the high school athletic trainer, the Summit Orthopedic one, then if you stuck around there for a long time, your pay could potentially increase and things like that, and you would just build a better reputation like that instead of just bouncing from location to location or job to job. And a big difference I found was pay. Like some of the pay for like some of the athletic training was a lot different. Like with the high school, that one was actually a little better than our True Health System out there in Grand Forks, because that one was actually a part-time position, and that won high school or Summit Orthopedics. That was a full-time position, so you would actually have a little bit of pay. Some of the benefits were different. Some included all types of benefits, 401k, health insurance, dental, retirement plans and things like that. But there was also some that didn't have dental, or they didn't have like a retirement plan like that. And then my decision on the job, I personally chose, after researching the jobs, I came to the conclusion that I think the best job would be the Summit Orthopedic High School athletic trainer. Because with some of the other jobs, the hours weren't always going to be the same. Some weeks you would get a full week or more, but then some might be shorter. This job is a full-time position as well. This is a well-known company, and if you go here, you are given a lot of responsibility, and I personally would like that. If I get to prove that I am cut out for the job, I would be relied on, and I love the feeling of responsibility, and I would want to prove my ability to keep athletes healthy and prevent injuries as much as possible. So as I was saying, yeah, I just would love the responsibilities of that position, because realistically, if you're take the high school athletic trainer, you're going to be the head athletic trainer at Lake South and North. And I just love the responsibility of that, just not to be like just a regular athletic trainer, not the head guy. And I would love to just be the head guy and just kind of, in a sense, show everybody what I've learned and what I can do. And thank you.